Welcome, my friends. I hope that your landlord didn't raise the rent on your cockroach-infested studio apartment, which still lacks hot water despite all the calls you've made. In these dark times, at least we can have a laugh at the idiocy posted on the worst social media hellscape of them all, the foul holes of LinkedIn. First up is an advert for an unpaid volunteer position managing social media for some dumbass podcaster. Ordinarily, I would redact the identity of the person or entity making a job advert, but they put so much of their own branding into this awful posting that it would mean redacting half of the text. Please don't contact this guy, it'll just get more of the shit that he's spewing on you.
Social media coordinator, volunteer position. Just don't bother. Bloody Mavericks Canada, remote, full-time 1 to 10 employees. Matt is hiring for this job. Job description. Please, all caps, just don't. If you are not reading this ad, spelled with 2 D's for some reason, to the end, full stop. Just, all caps, don't apply. If you are just clicking through the LinkedIn offers without checking if it is really for you, full stop on a sentence fragment. Just, all caps, don't apply, no full stop in another sentence fragment. Every single bullet point in this poorly written job advert is written as to fragmentary sentences, so I will just read the rest as if they are just 1 sentence each. If you can't find and do the task that is given below, just don't apply. If you are not doing the above, I promise you will not do what is required to even qualify, just don't apply. If you are not interested in doing, capital V, volunteer work, just don't apply. If you are not willing to put in the work to learn, like the writer of this posting wasn't willing to put in the work to apply basic grammar or punctuation to this stupid advert, just don't apply. If you are not willing to give this man 6 months to a year, just don't apply. If you are not passionate about stories of people who changed this world, as we know it, just don't apply. If you are not interested in, each one needlessly capitalized, rebels, outcasts, and trailblazers, and if you are not a maverick, just don't apply. If you accept, all caps, status quo, just don't apply. If you didn't take the time to learn what we do, even though we don't tell you what we do, just don't apply.
That LinkedIn posting was so bad, I couldn't even have a Microsoft Sam Stain character for that reading. Typing that into Speakonia was enough to bring back traumatic memories of 3rd grade English class. It's impressive that he's asking so much not just from someone who would take an unpaid volunteer position, but from someone who is also expected to do this unpaid volunteer position full-time for no apparent benefit. Any technical training would be ineffective as this is a bloody remote position. You're getting no real benefits from this volunteer work, and there is no greater cause that this position serves beyond doing grunt work for some arrogant podcaster for free. This person just wants a source of free labor that he can make do whatever he wants, honestly. Lastly, what's up with this Mavericks branding? Yeah, following someone's instructions precisely to the letter is a very maverick thing to do. Rebels, outlaws, and trailblazers always follow someone's instructions precisely to the letter like he's asking. Outlaws especially like to work a full-time job for no pay or apparent benefit. Rebels are especially known for deference to authority. Trailblazers definitely will stick with something for half a year, even if it clearly doesn't work for them or has no benefit whatsoever. This one is bad enough that I half suspect that the person who wrote this is just making an elaborate joke out of this for a laugh. At least, that's the outcome that would preserve more of my faith in humanity. Second one up is a prime example of human de-evolution. Here we have someone who takes what is supposed to be a professional networking platform and uses the same approach one would use for a whiny self-indulgent Tumblr blog. Behold.
Redacted oversharer. The evolution of LinkedIn has been an interesting one, ellipses. People judging you for what you post. People asking you about your career decisions. People wondering why you haven't done X. People telling you should do X because of Y. If there's anything I've learned from my 20s, it's this: line break. Your decisions are for you and nobody else. Nobody needs to understand them. Nobody needs to approve of them. Nobody needs to like them. When you're receiving advice from others, always observe and think about where they're at in life, ellipses. Do they have a life you want to live someday? Do they hold the same values as you? Do they treat people well? It real LLLYYYY puts things in perspective. Peace sign emoji, fire emoji.
I love this one because this is part of a trend that can be witnessed all throughout Western societies. As people are raised more by public schools, daycares, and nannies, we see people equally lashing out against others without any reason. Since the 60s, children have been spending more time in large, faceless institutions that strip them of their humanity than with their families and posts. Like these are examples of what happens in those situations. In truth, with that said, I find it hard to blame this individual in holding such beliefs. When faced with such profound social alienation, a fuck the world, I'm the only person that matters mindset looks rational. Now, as for the last paragraph, this one sounds fine on the surface, but it shows a line of thinking that is unwilling to accept opinions from those that think differently. Someone who has had a shitty life might have advice that can help you avoid following in their mistakes. Someone with different values can bring a fresh perspective to a new problem. Hell, even someone who acts like a jackass can still be right even if they treat others wrong. Next up is a post that makes me wonder if this guy isn't part of some religious cult. Get a load of this pseudo-affirmation crap.
Identity redacted. My CEO is my quote-unquote boss. He calls the shots. I'm the employee. I follow orders. My CEO is not responsible for my happiness. My CEO is not responsible for my mental health. My CEO is not the rapist. He doesn't have to be kind to me. He doesn't have to be empathetic towards me. On the company website, he's referred to as the CEO. Within the firm, he's referred to as the quote-unquote boss. No one refers to him as leader, as in take me to your leader. My CEO's job is to guide the firm to profitability. My CEO's job is to allow me the opportunity to build wealth. I'm grateful to my boss for the opportunity to make money.
On the surface, this sounds like someone wanting a simpler relationship between boss and employee than the cult-like atmosphere of some companies. However, this somehow manages to be more cult-like than most of the leadership fetishizing LinkedIn posts. Strangest of all is this implication that somehow a CEO would not be responsible for making decisions that could impact the mental health of his employees. Yeah, implementing a policy that demands wearing shock vests for lower-level employees so that their supervisors can zap them at any time they deem necessary would be something that impacts employee mental health. For a less extreme example, cutting benefits or hours is something that would be under the direct control of the CEO and would, you guessed it, make employees unhappy and impact their mental health. I'm wondering what kind of company this is where the upper management are so unhappy and stressed that these middle-aged men and women are complaining to their CEO constantly about emotional issues. Either he's a terrible boss who emotionally abuses a bunch of fragile middle-aged people, or he's in charge of a small enough company that the CEO ends up having to wrangle the low-level grunts. In any case, it makes him look bad. Now, I don't know how many people actually call the CEO of their company their boss, unless they're already in upper management. Hell, the CEO usually doesn't even directly give orders to middle management most of the time. The overwhelming majority of Wagie'S probably couldn't name the CEO of the company that they're working for half of the time. That's terror built into the system. Here's one that seems a little too good to be true. It seems to fit just a bit too well into what a Redditor's idea of a douchebag tech bro would talk like. Fake or real, this one is funny enough to stand on its own as an example of idiots trying to threaten others with what little social capital they have.
Referral request. Redacted sociopath. Hi Redditor. I saw your profile on LinkedIn and want you to refer me for open roles in, needlessly capitalized, software development in your organization. I have recently graduated from institution redacted and have previously interned with 2 Fortune 500 firms. It would be great if you can refer and consider my profile, as you claim that you help people on LinkedIn. I have over 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, and a few of my friends have over 100,000 followers as well. In case you don't refer, we will let people know that you don't deliver on what you claim. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Redacted Sociopath.
This one is funny as it suggests that the person who has interned with 2 different Fortune 500 companies is somehow having trouble finding work anyways. However, if this person is the type that would try to blackmail others by threatening to out them as a dishonest person on LinkedIn, they're probably not blessed with much social grace in the first place. This type of threat over a damned insignificant thing like a recommendation on LinkedIn reminds me of an extremely old message about a LinkedIn reference that also went viral.
Poor judgment on your job-seeking strategy. From Redacted Fool to Redacted We have never met. We have never worked together. You are quite young and green on how business connections work with senior professionals. Apparently you have heard that I produce a job bank and decided it would be stunningly helpful for your career prospects if I shared my 960 plus LinkedIn connections with you, a total stranger who has nothing to offer me. Your invite to connect is inappropriate, beneficial only to you, and tacky. Wow. I cannot wait to let every 26-year-old job seeker mine my top-tier marketing connections to help them land a job. I love the sense of entitlement in your generation. And therefore I enjoy, capital D for some reason, denying your invite, and giving you the dreaded I don't know, redacted, because it's the truth. Oh, and about your request to actually receive my job bank along with the 7,300 other subscribers to my service. That's denied, too. I suggest you join the other job bank in town. Oh wait, there isn't one. You're welcome for your humility lesson for the year. Don't ever reach out to senior practitioners again and assume their carefully curated list of connections is available to you just because you want to build your network. Don't ever write me again.
Ah, here's the one. Sometimes it's hard to believe that this email is almost 10 years old. Whenever you hear a baby boomer or Gen Xer talk shit about your generation, I want you to keep in mind pathetic pieces of shit like this who want to grind you into the dust. In turn, I want you to know that this is the same shit that Gen Xers in turn faced back in the 80s and 90s. The goddamn cycle continues and Ouroboros keeps eating its own tail. Finally, we have a CEO who wants to make sure that his Wagie'S slaves are totally obedient and that only those who in all thoughts and actions are loyal to him are fit to serve his whims.
Wagie'S Aaron, CEO of Pain Incorporated. I'm curious, if you had to work at one of the following tech companies, which would it be? See more. Poll, if you had to work at one of the following tech companies, which would it be? The offer can see how you vote. Learn more. Option 1, Alphabet, Google. Option 2, Facebook. Option 3, Tesla. Option 4, and the only one that will not result in your termination from Pain Incorporated. Pain. In this pain. 4,898 votes. 22 hours left. Choose carefully.
In case you hadn't caught on, this guy is in fact the CEO of a company that specializes in software for tracking wages. LinkedIn polls let the makers of those polls see who voted and for what they voted for. He likely had all his employees vote for his company on threat of firing or other disciplinary action, such as electroshock torture or solitary confinement. Just remember that if your boss tries to make you do some Google form or a LinkedIn poll like this, it's almost certainly not anonymous. That's it for Wagie'S Word Webisode the coup. Remember, don't screw around with any of the idiots posted here. That's a surefire way to get the shit that these fools spew out onto the internet onto you. Farewell and slack off.